See, I was actually kind of touched on what I was gonna say, but the difference is that I think you should stay single until you figure those things out. The reason I say that is because when you're in relationship, a lot of times you're pouring into the relationship instead of pouring into yourself, especially women. And so sometimes the relationship becomes a distraction from doing the self work that you need so you can be better for the relationship. So I think it's more important to stay single, but stay single and be actively working to, like how we was talking about, finding like knowledge of self, by making those adjustments, even if those adjustments means, you know what, let me call some of my exes and ask them about things, because other people see you differently than you see yourself. You know what I'm saying? Have those tough conversations. Sometimes it's not just with relationships, romantic relationships. Sometimes you need to have those conversations with your parents, with your girlfriends, things like that, because they can also give you a different perspective if they're honest with you about things that you can work on to be a better person, because sometimes they've seen you in your relationships. And so I think it is important to be alone first and do that work, do the healing, do the necessary reflection, develop a better knowledge of self, and then go into the relationship, because you're going to start choosing different once you have done the work and have a different mindset, because that changes what you're looking for at that point.
I think so. There's really no time limit in healing, but I think some people just be healing for years, or they use that as an excuse, and so there's really no way to really measure it. I also think that people automatic like a person that's in their 40s, any guy or any woman that they encounter, they automatically think in relationship. A lot of them are. I'm not saying everybody does. Automatically think in relationship. Just because you meet somebody doesn't mean that it's going to evolve into a serious relationship and or marriage, right? So I think people got to understand that just knowing how to have a relationship, and it doesn't have to be like like romantically, but just knowing how to talk, because you can still discover some things without having a romantic relationship as far as if you're ready or not. But I think people automatically just go straight to, oh, he doesn't qualify for me, oh, she doesn't qualify for me, because they still have their hurt in them. I just, you have to eventually measure the healing some type of way, and it doesn't have to just go straight relationship. Just having
Mhm.
conversations, asking the right questions, doing. I mean, those are. I mean, that's what people are failing at is in the beginning of relationships. And uh, I think if you can get, so if you can start nipping some of those things in the bud on the front end, and that's part of the whole vetting process. Some people are just failing at vetting, and they have to heal because they've been hurt because they just vetted wrong. So think if you get comfortable being out there and not thinking, oh, this is not the D1, y'all could be friends. Y'all could be cool. You can go out, y'all have a good time, and y'all can respectfully be like, I just don't think that you're a fit, but you're a nice person. And you can kind of keep it moving. That's just how I look at it. Because some people just be healing for years. Nobody never really knows you've never healed because you're afraid to even get close to somebody.
Mhm. I can see that.
Hmm.
I don't have all the answers, but I am open to hearing everybody. That's just my opinion. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I think that just women and men view they go about relationships in very different ways, you know. Um I think that's really what it is. Like you have your idea of how you do, in your opinion, like, oh, I have these options. And sometimes it's because the woman too has options, and maybe she don't feel like giving up them options for, nowadays these girls. You feel me?
Mhm.
It's like what's the opportunity cost in this relationship? What am I'm having to give up to sustain this relationship? Do I think that he's worth it? A lot of times, like mistaken, in the past, I think that women have relied on men to be financially, covered. But nowadays, with that not being there, you actually gotta like him, because he wants you to cook and clean for him. He wants you to do all of these things, so you got to do it out of love, like, you know. And so, what is happening is women are going for these guys that they want, who end up teaching them a lesson that you don't want me, because, and then you be like, okay, lesson learned. But then you go back into a certain kind of relationship and it's like lesson learned. And I know for me, I can honestly say my toxic trait would be I like alone time. I guess when you have been single for so long, you do. I'm just like a man. I like peace too, right? Like I like for us to have our great time, but I'm okay with us being separated for a little bit, and because it makes me enjoy you so much more with that little bit of a break, not a long one, just a little bit, and so, and I think that came along with just being single. When I walk in the house, I like my house to look a certain kind of way. I can control that as a single person, right? I know when I walk in the house is the exact same way when I walked out, besides my kids. But for the most part, that's how it works. If I'm not hungry, if I feel like I'm on a diet this week, I know I have to cook for him, but that's not every single day. That's when he comes over. I know he likes his lunch to be made. I know he likes all these things, but it's not like an everyday situation. So, and fortunately, I found somebody who that works for as well. So,
And I think that's what I'm afraid of, right? And I mean, it's not to take away. Maybe y'all have a y'all dynamic is cool, but when you are single for so long,
mhm,
you get comfortable doing things as single people. Like you're
sure.
afraid to build with somebody. Like you guys should be like there's some good in being around each other. Like you're coming home saying I don't have to cook for them every day. I mean, to me, the goal would be right. Like we level up, and I hire a cook so we can just travel the world
Well,
and we
you can
can
level up. You
and we can enjoy each other. I'm not trying to have you in the house just cooking all damn day if you ain't got to, But until we get in, until we build up to it, then we can kind of make it work. But when I hear you say I like my alone time, like I still think there's if you get to the other side of being able to appreciate being around somebody and with that right person, you wouldn't mind being around them a lot more instead of saying I look forward to my alone time.
Well, so my long time, I guess it's equivalent to when men say I like peace, right? Because I too like peace. I value peace. I'm with kids all day long. I value peace at the end of the day. Just like y'all say, women are yapping off at their problems when I got kids yapping with me with their problems all day. So I I like to come home to peace too. We both like peace, and sometimes that doesn't look like we're in separate households. That could be like, okay, there's a man cave, or okay, we just have this moment, and then we'll come together once we've done our little, you know. Um, but I do. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I just like a little bit of. I do like a relationship. I like a companionship, and you can still have a partnership and work on things together, and not be around them 24 hours a day. I believe that can still happen. Um, I just I don't know what it is. I'm just like that.
I just want to say real quick before we close out, Miss Shan. Peace and alone aren't the same, and
Well,
I don't
I'm not
think
alone, so I like being with them. So let's just be very clear. Most of these women are not alone. They are not alone. Just like JR is not alone. These women are not. Let's be very, very clear. These women are not alone, and that's probably the problem. And
it,
you know,
ver- it
that's
very well could be,
the problem.
They're
but
not alone, but they're lonely because you can be with somebody and still be lonely. And I think that's probably the place where a lot of women
But you can't
refuse
marry.
to
You can't
go
even.
through this with alone.
So you can't even. So I've seen enough relationships, and including marriages. Not my friends, because my friends seem to have gotten it right. But I've seen enough relationships to even know when you're married, you can still be alone. Okay,
Hmm.
so we can't measure everything off of being married. Okay, it doesn't necessarily, that doesn't mean anything. That's why men sleep, got a side chick that he probably spends more time with than his wife. That there's a whole group there. It's just all about a person who speaks the same language as you. I do believe that God put us on earth and we have person that perfectly fits. JR has a person who knows his program perfectly. I think, and so I mean, hopefully the guy work out what it works out because we kind of think alike a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But when I need him, I can get in touch. Like if I need him, it ain't no doubt about it. He will stop. If I call him right now, he'll stop what you're doing. Blah blah blah. Blah. You know. But I do. I think that I just think it's important to know that it's going to look different for everybody. What may work for Mistaken may not work for me. What may work for JR may not work for me. What may work for AP may not work for me. But guess what? It works for his wife. It works for whoever he's dating. It works for your husband. You know, the guy with it works for. So